under attack from within. Repeat, we are under attack. Something is happening to my crew.
Coming up, it's Frontier Day and the Changeling attack on the Federation is executed with catastrophic results.
Tell me, what did you see? What did you see?
Jack's deep, dark secret and his role in the attack is finally revealed.
Beverly, right, let's go! Captain! Shaw!
Picard and his Enterprise crew make a desperate and deadly escape from the Titan.
Is the bridge smaller or am I just bigger?
No, she's exactly as she was.
And our heroes reunite with an old friend from the past, giving one last bit of hope to save the Federation from the enemy within.
All this and more
Coming up on the Star Trek Picard edition of Energize.
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 We're jumping to warp speed with Jean-Luc Picard and the Star Trek Next Generation crew.
You're listening to Energize, a Star Trek Picard podcast, your source for in-depth analysis, colorful debate, and exciting discussions about the final adventure of Admiral Jean-Luc Picard and the Enterprise D crew. I'm your host, Anthony McLemore.
And I'm Steve Truitt. This week, the Federation is dealt a devastating blow as the Changeling plot is set into motion.
And in a shocking revelation, Jack Crusher finds out exactly who and what he is to the detriment of the entire Federation.
Can Picard and his crew save the Federation and the lives of millions before it's too late?
Here's a warp speed recap of Star Trek Picard Episode 9, Vox.
Your son is dangerous.
We must take precautions.
Precautions?
Jack, where are you going? You're gonna get yourself killed!
Jack, end your struggle, my child. Resistance is futile.
Data and I have been combing through the Changeling intel.
It appears Captain Picard's DNA is now considered common biology.
They've been assimilating the entire fleet this whole time without anyone even knowing it.
Hail the entire fleet. This is Admiral Jean-Luc Picard. Changeling infiltration of Starfleet has made us vulnerable to our greatest enemy, the Borg.
We are under attack from within. Repeat, we are under attack. Something is happening to my crew.
Eliminate all unassimilated.
This ship cannot be saved from within.
We need to get off the Titan before it's too late.
All right, Steve, my goodness, man.
Wow.
Just when you think things couldn't get better, they do. This was an amazing episode on so many levels, of which we will dive into.
Yes, and I'm just going to say at the outset, this is the first time since reruns of Star Trek TNG that I've watched any episode twice. I watched this twice because I was so blown away.
I've already watched it 5 times, so I'm that
You
into
win.
it. And yeah, especially I rolled back from probably about the last 15 minutes, and I've watched that several
that's the
times.
best part.
So
Yep,
the best part. So it's amazing. So in this episode, we're going to finally find out who Jack Crusher is, how Jack fits into the Changeling plot against the Federation, and what Picard and his old original Enterprise crew will have to do to prevent the Frontier Day attack on the Federation.
Right. So the big question has been, for 8 episodes, who or what is Jack Crusher?
Nothing is more elusive than a door the mind doesn't wish to open. Your truth. It's behind that door.
Find me.
Will you let me open it for you? I promise.
Fear nothing.
Whatever we might find there, you will not be alone.
We will be together soon, Jack.
Yes.
So we start right where we left off with Deanna Troi. She's using her Betazoid telepathy to guide Jack within his mind to open the red door. And you had said last week you had seen that little teaser, and she opens the door and she's petrified.
Oh, yeah, completely. And so, true to form, true to the tease that they had actually put out there, she opens the door, helps Jack open the door, and she immediately pulls herself out of it, and she's terrified. I mean, she is like scared, and she's like, I'm sorry. And she literally runs out, and Jack is like, what the hell,
Yeah.
What did you say?
Who I am. And he's scared too, right? He's like, damn it, just tell me. But we want to know what the hell it is that she sees that she's freaking out about.
Absolutely. And so, my question was, what would be so terrifying to her that she would leave a patient and run herself?
Right. Well, we find out.
That's impossible.
Jack has never been assimilated.
There are no nanoprobes in his system. There are no transceivers, no receivers.
The voices in his head are distinct. My gifts aren't perfect, but I have never mistaken Borg.
She runs right to Picard, opens the door, and she's like, I know who those voices were. It was the Borg. The Borg.
Yep, and we've all been making our bets, and I have said from the outset that I thought it was the Borg.
That's what I said too. I said he's a Borg.
Yep.
And I want to give a kind shout out to a listener who had disagreed with me 2 seasons ago, and said, no, they've told the Borg story. There'll be no more Borg. I just want to say I was right.
But the great thing about this is that the writers, have used something that's logical in a very fresh and new way, and we'll get to that.
Yeah, right. Because it's part of Picard's story. Why wouldn't it be part of his son's? In a way, this is the sins of the father revisited on the son, if you think about it.
Yeah, and what a great way to explore this. And so there was something that I missed last week. And I didn't pick up on it until I rewatched it, because I rewatch episodes because I think it's fun, and especially when the episodes are good. But when Jack Crusher was on the bridge in front of Vadic, and Seven came back onto the bridge and said, "I'm going to stay," it was Vadic that said, "How appropriate that you stayed, Jack," and that was a major giveaway.
No, how is it appropriate that you stay, Seven? She said it to 7 of 9.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I didn't mean Jack. I meant 7. Yeah. How appropriate is it that you stay with Jack? Yeah.
So I missed that in watching it too, but I edited last week's episode and I caught it then. And I'm like, okay, it's the Borg. It's the Borg.
Yep. And this is on top of the material being removed from Picard's brain. So they've been dropping, nuggets all along the way.
Yeah, like why his brain? And they're teasing us like, oh, is the aromatic syndrome part of his brain? And that's kind of where we thought we were going with it.
Biology doesn't always need words to communicate. Flocks of birds turn in unison, the architecture of a beehive, an ant colony, all wordlessly connected. Some transceivers and receivers are organic. So too must be the technology inside Jack.
So Beverly pieces together that Picard doesn't have aromatic syndrome.
Right.
But that the Borg created some kind of biological technology that was passed from Locutus to Jack. And so this really does make sense, because there's always been some kind of interface that had to work between the machine and the organic.
For sure. And, Locutus himself was the first real ambassador that the Borg chose to have. The Queen's like, I chose you to, bring me to the Federation, and it makes sense why Picard was so loved by the Borg Queen and why they had such a unique connection. I was starting to think, God, is Jack the Borg Queen's son? But she didn't have a bottom, so I guess not.
That would make things very
that'd be really
difficult.
Tricky, super tricky.
Below the waist.
Yeah. How are we going to do this? We'll adopt.
Yeah, there we go. So, like you said, Picard has always been unique. The Locutus was so unique. And they've been dropping nuggets all along. I mean, Shaw talked about it. He brought that into it. And so,
of course, the Battle at Wolf 359, is a huge, huge part of canon, and to have Shaw bring it back and talk about it, this whole thing was peppered with Borg from the beginning.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And we had the Borg Queen last season, and we had Borg stuff in the first season, kind of, because of the Borg Cube, and that's when we met Seven and Hugh. You know, it's been Borg all 3 seasons.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was great tie-in with 7 being there. It made it even more poignant. But this is where the good writing and emotion comes in, because Picard's devastated, as any parent would if they've passed on a crippling gene onto their child. I mean, it happens in real life all the time.
Yeah.
We must tell him.
No, I will. It's my responsibility. I'm the cause. My fault.
Right, and so, Picard is obviously devastated. He's so guilty. It's like, passing a bad gene onto your child, which is kind of what he has done. And, I think this is, Patrick Stewart is an older fellow now, and he seems more tired like Picard would, but he still just brings it, man. You could just see how devastating this is for him. He did a great job with it.
Yeah, and I think, the writers have worked with their age, and it would be appropriate.
Oh, yeah.
You've been battling the Borg your entire back end of your life, and it's very exhaustive, and it's just like, crap, I can never escape these fools. So, you could read it on his face and his demeanor. It sold it. And so he has this burden now, and he wants to go tell Jack. But Troy brings up a really good point.
Jean-Luc, Beverly, I'm really sorry, but there are protocols.
Protocols?
Vadik was searching for a weapon against humanity. That weapon was Jack. You both saw him enter the minds of others and control them. Forgive me, but as of this moment, your son is dangerous.
Well, look, we're still Starfleet. We have protocols in place. He is a weapon, and that means he's dangerous. And it's like, oh, right, that's right. He's friendly, and he's been a good son and all that, but he can be activated maybe by the Borg, now that we know.
Yeah, now the stakes are high. The stakes are really, really high because he truly is a threat. We've got to put him somewhere. So so Picard goes to Jack to have this really, hard conversation with him. And, Jack obviously is questioning who he is. Is he Borg? Is he Jack?
Everyone has their secrets. Things that they should be allowed to keep to themselves, not put up on some psychic display. The fact that she's a former Starfleet counselor raises some serious...
Jack, Counselor
Just
Troy.
tell me, what did she see in here?
Yeah, and just the way they set the scene, there's 3 high windows, and they're beaming sunlight into the scene. There's no natural lighting. It's very dark. Both of them are not only backlit and in silhouette, but they're as far away from each other as they can be in the room, and it looks like a prison. And it feels like a prison. And this scene feels like Jack's about to be imprisoned. And I just love the way they set the scene. It was just beautifully done.
Oh, very much so. And so, I felt for Jack. And then Picard has to tell him that precautions have to be taken.
Right.
And, again, this was great acting on Patrick Stewart's part because... Right. Jack is like, wait a minute, what are you saying? He's questioning him as a father, but he's like, listen, you don't understand. I had to kill a lot of people that I knew.
I killed a lot of people that I knew. I threatened the lives of everyone I've ever loved. It's the scene when he's with Lily on Enterprise E, in First Contact, when she's like, blow up the ship. He's like, no. He's just like... They attack us and we fall back. No more. I will make them pay for what they've done. He's just had this in him forever, and here he is, an 82-year-old man. He's like, Jesus, I can't. Like you said before, I can't get rid of these fools. But it's like you're not going to do what I did.
There's a place where you will be safe. A research academy on Vulcan.
Keslova. It's no academy. It's an institution, a prison where they can mind meld and lobotomize the Borg from me.
But so Picard wants to send Jack to Vulcan, but Jack, rejects that because he feels like he's being institutionalized.
Which he would have been. That's true.
Yeah. I mean,
he's like, I'm not gonna have them logically mind meld me out of who I am, right? Which is an interesting line.
Yeah.
So
Jack turned it on him. He's like, what about their protocols? But what about the protocols of a father? And that's tough.
Right, but he says, he gives the Spock line: the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the one. It's like, look, man, I'm sorry. I have experience with this. You will not be in control of yourself very soon. And so Jack's like, screw this. He starts walking out, and the door slides open, and standing there are these two big guards.
Security guards.
Yeah. And he's like, oh, crap.
Where are you going?
Home.
No, we can find a solution. We can undo this, whatever it is.
There's a voice in my head. I always thought it was yours. It wasn't. It's hers.
So he takes control of him.
Yep, he does. He uses his red eye shift, and they immediately turn their guns on Picard. They don't shoot him, thankfully, of course. But Jack's
he's not going to kill his dad. He just, Jack is very cavalier, and he just wants to take matters into his own hands. Yeah. And so, he's going to leave, and even Beverly tries to stop him, and he's not having it, and he flees.
He gets on a shuttle, and he takes off. Now, I was a little surprised that he was able to do it so easily, but maybe he mind connected with people who let him do it, released. I mean, I'm surprised you can just steal a shuttle that easy, but I don't know. Maybe they didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, and that ship's been through a lot. Titan's been through a lot.
Yeah.
They're operating on a bone crew anyway.
Right. Okay, where am I going?
Jack. Fine.
So Jack, flies off, and he goes to the Borg ship set on killing the Queen. I mean, it was a noble idea, but we know the Borg Queen's too powerful.
Jack, my child, my flesh, blood. For all my darkness, you are light. For all my suffering, you are light.
I don't know what I am, but I know I'm not yours.
Oh, but you are.
And this is Alice Krieg, who originally played the first Borg Queen in First Contact. We don't see her. I suspect she's a little older. It's been 25 years. I don't know if they're going to show her, but that voice was unmistakable.
Creepy.
That original Borg voice that you can't forget, the Borg Queen voice. And I'm like, oh my God, it's Alice Krieg. I was so excited. And she just talked to him like she was a loving mother.
A loving, creepy mother, worse than Mommy Dearest. But so Jack wants to shoot, but she's like, if you could, you would have done it already. And she plugs into him,
and he allows it. Now, here's my theory. Am I allowed to talk about theories right now?
Yes, you can.
I think what's happening, and he did allude to this. He said, "I'm going to go over there and I'm going to kill them from within." I think what they're doing is he's doing another rope-a-dope where he's going to allow himself to get connected, like Girardi did last season. She allowed herself to get connected so she could mess with the Queen. I think that's what Jack is going to try to do, and try to, he's got both Borg and human. I think maybe he can try to infiltrate from the inside.
It's a good theory. And it would work, but my God, it's a costly one. Jeez.
Well, but that's, listen, if he's forever Borg, and he's forever, I mean, it's in his damn DNA. He can't get rid of it. Look at Picard. Look at Seven. You just can't get rid of it. Then it might be that he sacrifices his life. Here's a guy who's always been on the run, never cared about anybody. He's been asked to join Starfleet. He laughs it off. what if he sacrifices his life to finally end the Borg for all of humanity? And he understands the sacrifice. That might happen. Get ready. Get out the tissues. It might happen.
Okay. Hey, I'll put a pin in that, and I will pin a medal on you if you're correct.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So, Jack is left, and it leaves Beverly and Picard really dejected. I mean, and as parents, Beverly feels terrible, in the sense that I've lost 2 sons. I gave one freedom and he flew. He's gone, and I held one tight and he's gone. So nothing I'm doing as a parent is working.
Which all parents feel all the time, by the way. It's really hard. And I love this perspective. They, like you said, these writers have embraced the gray. They've embraced their older characters and what they're going through now, letting children go and losing children. And wow, I feel for her in a great way.
How could I have missed that?
Beverly, it's a testament to you that he managed to resist for so long.
He may be Borg, but that is not all he is.
So what now?
Clearly, the Changelings have been working with the Borg from the beginning.
And as we speak, all of Starfleet is gathered in one location. The outcome of this entire conspiracy was intended for this exact moment. Today is Frontier Day.
So we get to where Geordi is, and Geordi's trying to figure out things, working with Data, and so they hit it, and it's more terrifying and devastating than we ever thought.
Right, and it makes beautiful sense in a way, because the Locutus story did not just end when they rescued him and took out the implants. They transformed Picard in a way where they rewrote some of his genetic code, and it was stored in his body, but not detectable by Starfleet, and it was only detected as symptoms of Irumodic syndrome, which is just a brilliant way to bring all of that back and re-explain it and reimagine it.
Yeah, I mean, the writers did their homework. I mean, this is proof
Phenomenal.
Positive that the writers really did a good job, because there've been movies and where you could tell somebody didn't really look at all the source material and
or just know it
from
they
canon.
Weren't fans.
This is a show written by fans for the fans, and so this was a great way to weave it in, because it all makes sense. You don't feel like this was a story that was stuck on the side with a piece of chewing gum.
Right. It knocks down so many pegs at once. It's like, oh, okay, so that's why the body was at Daystrom, and that's why Vadic stole it from Daystrom, and why Picard. The best part was, I can still hear them, and that was a line too in the movie, and that's why he could still hear them, because he still had them in there.
Yep. So Soon had discovered when Soon made the positronic body for Picard in season 1, he discovered that anomaly and then took the body over to Daystrom. So that's why they had it.
We have to warn them.
Of what exactly?
They're gonna blow us out of the water.
Then we have to try. Picard, to Captain Shaw, we need to get to the Sol system right now.
Smack dab in the middle of Frontier Day, where pretty much every Starfleet vessel is assembled, running exercises, with our faces pinned to their dartboard.
It's our only option, Captain.
Of course it is.
So they come to the realization that Jack can hear like Picard could, but he can also transmit, which is why he's able to control people. So that makes him very, very valuable to the Changelings.
So this is where I started to get lost a little, and I wanted to try to understand this. Does this mean that the Changelings, how did they bond with the Borg to do this? And who's in charge? Is it the Changelings or is it the Borg? This is stuff I want to answer later.
I mean, that's still a question as to how did their alliance come to be. So I'm really, really curious about it, but maybe it had to do with the Changelings that were at Daystrom and escaped. yes. And it was maybe it was an offering. I don't know.
I bet you somehow it has to do with Hugh or something like that. Like something, or they assimilated a changeling, or I don't. They will figure it out. I bet you it'll be brilliant the way they explain it. I just can't wait to find out.
Yeah, because they haven't dropped the ball on anything. In my opinion. Nope. Yeah. So now it's we're in dire straits. I mean, Frontier Day is about to start. So
it's Frontier Day.
We've got to get there.
It is Frontier Day. Worf says it. Today is the day. It's Frontier Day.
Yeah, and the fact that Starfleet is all in one place, I think, is just really stupid.
Well, that's like this is the Pearl Harbor moment where all the ships are in the harbor.
Sitting naked.
It just doesn't make sense, and they're just advertising it. Hey, it's Frontier Day. Hey, we're all here. What could go wrong?
Yeah, yeah. So they decide to go to Frontier Day. Frontier Day.
Oh yeah,
they have to. This is tough considering they're one ship.
And they're like they have a target on their back. You know what I mean? This is a big deal. They're going to go in there, and everyone's going to be looking for them and probably attack them.
Space Dock, this is NCC 1701F, ready for ceremonial departure. Admiral Shelby in command.
Copy that, Enterprise. Clear for departure. Happy Frontier Day.
$250 years ago today, the Enterprise NX-01, the first Warp 5 capable vessel to be constructed by human hands, made its maiden voyage.
So fast forward over to Frontier Day, the festivities have started, and we see the new Enterprise F come out of Space Dock.
Oh, dude. Yeah, and they announce it, too. It's just thrilling. And who announces it? Do you remember?
Yes, I remember her. It's
Admiral Shelby.
Yes, I couldn't stand her.
Who was Commander Shelby in the third season.
Lieutenant Commander Shelby, yes.
Lieutenant Commander Shelby, who was pissed, who got mad at Riker. She was doing the Borg thing. I loved seeing her. That was just another Borg story. There's Shelby, but now she's Admiral.
Fleet Admiral.
Yeah,
Fleet Admiral Shelby. It's really, really ironic. She was the freaking Borg expert.
Yeah, and she's
about to get bested.
Yeah. So the F comes out, and I thought when I saw the previews for the season that when Riker said "Hello, beautiful," it was all going to be Enterprise F. I really thought that. The fact that we just see it in episode 9 tells me that they're either preserving the F for another crew someday, or something, because they didn't feature it that much other than just introducing it.
Yeah,
And this is a fan concept, by the way. The Enterprise F was designed by a fan in a contest, and it won the contest to be in the video game, and now it's canon. Can you imagine being the guy that designed it, and now they're using it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, really great bragging rights.
Of course. You're a hero.
Oh, my gosh.
What do you think of it?
Yeah. No, I loved it. I mean, it's mean. It's got a mean face.
It's very
sharp.
Serious. Yeah, very sharp. It's very streamlined. It takes the E and makes it even. It's a bigger version than the E. It's got double neck. I don't know if you noticed that. Neck on the right and the left. It looks tough.
Yeah, very much so.
As we demonstrate our newest advancement, fleet formation.
USS Pulaski, synchronization online.
USS Magellan.
Synchronistic technology that allows every ship in Starfleet to operate as one. An impenetrable armada. Unity and defense. The ultimate safeguard.
Synchronization online.
In case of the unthinkable, fleet-wide incapacitation. This system will protect our crews in our continued exploration of what still remains, our final frontier.
So all these ships are linked, which has been discussed in previous episodes,
Right.
and echoes of Battlestar Galactica. This is the premise for how the 13 colonies went down in the first place.
Yeah, during that attack. I like the idea, and what's more interesting is the formation that they took. I was trying to decide what that formation looked like, and I couldn't get a grasp of it, but maybe you have an idea.
I don't know. It seemed like it was looks like genetic code or something. Like
oh
DNA
yeah,
strip. I don't know.
maybe. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, that's what it felt
I'll have to go
like
back and
to
look.
me.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is Starfleet code.
Specifically, transporter code. They've implemented portions of Captain Picard's Borg-altered DNA into the transporter system. Captain Picard's DNA is now considered common biology in the transporter system.
They've been assimilating the entire fleet this whole time.
So we go back to Geordi and Data, and they have discovered that portions of Picard's Borg-altered DNA has been implemented into the transporter systems across the entire fleet.
I mean, it's just, dude, that is next level. First of all, planning by whoever, the Borg or the Changelings. And just what great story writing. I mean, it basically says every species that has gone through the pattern buffer, and that's everybody, has a baseline DNA set that is now belonging to Locutus. That's insane.
Yep, Picard's code is now common biology.
And what does that mean? It's like, okay, great. Now are we all going to get an English accents? Like, what's going to happen?
Yep,
but we know what's gonna happen. Yeah.
So every person in Starfleet has this Borg tech in their bodies now.
They do. Yep.
And, so basically, I was just like, my goodness, this was brilliant. They've been setting up their assimilation the whole time under everyone's noses.
That just sent a chill down my spine, like a real chill. I was like, oh my God, this is unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, it's been crazy the whole season because the whole notion that changelings can alter all the way down to their organs, and that was already scary enough that they're among us like that. Now, they raised us, on a poker table. Yeah. They went, I will raise you on that.
Yeah, we're in your DNA.
Yes. And this is, I was cheering at the same time as cringing. I was like, man, this is awesome. And I was like, oh my God, they're going to get killed.
Well, I mean, but let's go back a step. And this is what I had a question about before. We've had Changeling for 8 episodes. And suddenly it's a Borg plot? Like, this is where I started to get confused. Like, well, wait a second. Well, then where are the Changelings? Was Shelby a Changeling? What's going on? What happened to the Changelings? Is this a Borg attack? So I want to know what's happening because we kind of, I know they won't leave it forever, but I feel like they just kind of sidestep the Changelings to talk about the Borg.
Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see what I'm sure they're going to explain it out, how they got together.
I hope so. Yeah, they will. I know they will. I just want it all.
Yep.
Explain now, please.
So everything gets into high gear. Now that we know just how bad the plot is and how insidious it is, now I'm just like, okay, man, this Frontier Day is about to go crazy awry.
Yeah. This is Admiral Jean-Luc Picard. I come to you with a warning.
Command, what the hell is happening?
Changeling infiltration of Starfleet has made us vulnerable to our greatest enemy, the Borg.
So Picard, they arrive at Frontier Day, and he tries to warn the fleet, but they're cut off.
Yeah.
And Jack, at the same time, Jack is plugged in, and he starts transmitting, because he's a transmitter.
He's a transmitter, exactly. And now, all of a sudden, and that was the whole point, was Jack can be a transmitter. And this is a weird little moment. They go, well, what's happening? If everyone's got Borg technology in us, how come we haven't changed yet? And then suddenly, I think someone says, well, wait, we discovered that you only change if you haven't completed your cerebral cortex growth. And they're like, oh, so anyone under 25. And then suddenly all the cadets and all the ensigns on the bridge start to turn, including Geordi's daughter.
The Forge!
We are the Borg.
Oh my gosh. And then as you're seeing that happen, you just realize, oh crap, this is happening on every ship. They're effed. They're effed. And so Shelby gets 2 to the chest.
Yeah, she's like, you know, boom,
She's
boom,
like,
boom.
Instant, what are you, pow pow?
Yeah, I mean, it was almost like an unceremonious. I mean, she just went down. It is absolutely
I know. It was like,
mayhem.
hey, welcome back. Oh, okay.
Right.
Bye.
And so one Starfleet now Borg ensign comes in off the transport, or excuse me, off the lift, and says, you know, kill all or eliminate all non-Borg.
Eliminate all unassimilated.
You gotta get out of here.
Can't think.
Come on.
Stun only.
Yeah. It's not assimilation anymore. It's kill them, mainly because they probably don't have the ability to assimilate anymore. They've changed. It's now a DNA assimilation, as we've seen. And Seven just pops her in the face, and they jump into the turbolift.
Oh yeah, everything's going wild, and so they're on the lift. They're just seeing all this craziness. You can hear all, you know, on the comms, everything that's happening on all the other ships.
Can anybody read me? This is Captain Bedbasat of the Excelsior. To all who can hear, we have managed to retake control of our bridge. Hold on, Hell, what's happening? They're controlling us remotely. Taking us out of formation. No! No!
Excelsior eliminated. All vessels secure. Fleet-wide assimilation complete.
The Excelsior, you know, is breaking out. They were able to come and, you know, get the control of the bridge back from the Borg, and they're like, yeah, we got control of the bridge, and then, oh no.
Yeah, well,
they're all
they find
hardwired.
Yeah, and they find this rogue radio channel that's like a lower decks radio channel, and they're like, we got our bridge back, and and then they're actually pushed out into the middle by the collective, and 4 ships fire on the Excelsior and destroy it. And one of those ships, did you notice? I paused. Did you notice what one of the ships was?
No. What?
The USS Hikaru Sulu.
Oh yes, yeah, okay. I didn't see it in that moment, but I was looking at some stuff online, and somebody had mentioned, just rattled off names that they saw in a freeze frame.
One of the ships that was in that group was the Okuda, and Michael Okuda was the longtime, and still is the longtime designer of all of the set pieces. He is just brilliant. He's the one who gave us all the touch screens in Next Generation, and what you're seeing now is just next level. That's all Michael Okuda's influence. So of course he gets to have a ship named after him.
Gotta get to my girls.
No, Geordi! Stop. And do what? No. We need a plan. All right?
I really like this moment. You know, Geordi's like, I gotta go get my daughters, and Data grabs him, and this is where the human, the new Data, the human part of Data acts. He's like, no. Just, you know, basically, there's nothing you can do. We need a plan.
He's like, what are you gonna do? Go up there and get killed? No, let's get a plan. And he does it like an older brother. You know, not like, Geordi, that would be unwise. Like, you know. It was great.
No, he said it like you or I was. Like, dude, no, you can't do that. You're going to get killed. We'll come back for them. And so, I mean, battles are going on all decks. I like when the lift door opens, it was just like mayhem. Close the door, close the door.
Oh, yeah, exactly. People just shooting at each other. So Picard and his crew that were in the lift with Riker and Shaw and Seven, they realized that if they go down to the lower decks, and I can't remember what they called it, that they can regroup down there where there's no connection.
Service deck.
That's it. Yeah, service deck. Yeah, there's no connection there. There's no integration there. So Picard, oddly, gets on his communicator and tells the group. I'm surprised he's not telling everyone, but that's okay. I mean, isn't that broadcasting to everyone was my question, but maybe it's just like a localized group. I don't know.
Yeah.
But he's like, meet us down in the service deck.
Thank goodness. You all made it.
Just trying to get the damn door open. Jean-Luc, they took my girls.
And we will get them back.
But right now, we all need to get off of this ship.
What if we get off the ship and the fleet takes us?
Shuttles don't connect to the new system. They're autonomous.
The robot's right. It's the only way.
A single shuttle against the entire fleet.
No. I've got a better idea.
So they get down there, and they're getting ready to. One of my favorite moments. They all get there together, and Data goes, "Let's take a shuttle. It's not connected to the collective, and we would be, blind to their senses." or invisible rather. And 7 of 9 goes, the robot's right. We should do that. And Data just
that
raises
was
his
funny.
eye like,
That was really
"What?"
funny. He just looks at her like, what?
What? The robot's right.
Yeah.
But then Geordi's got another idea, and he punches into the keypad, and they're like, let's get out of here.
So they're boarding the shuttle. A firefight ensues, and they're slowly getting everybody, onto the shuttle. But then, Shaw is, go, go, go.
Beverly, Riker, go! Picard, go!
Captain!
Shaw!
Captain.
It was interesting for me for his character because the entire time he's like, I don't care, I don't care, I don't care. Then he's kind of roped into it, and then he's like, this is important. And then suddenly, and I think almost too suddenly, he's the hero. And I think what I would have liked to see with this death scene was a harken back to maybe he pointed at people like he was pointed to get on the shuttle. There is a rhyme there, right? He got to live because he got to go on the shuttle when the Borg was attacking in 359. But he dies this time. And I don't know if they did enough to rhyme that with his story.
Gotcha. I mean, I understood it because this time he was telling everybody to go.
Right, exactly.
And making the order.
I guess maybe I don't want it to be beaten over our heads, but I guess I wanted to see that somewhat, like that rhyme. But his death is a noble one, and he dies beautifully and very sadly. And what he says at the end is heartbreaking.
No. It's not my ship anymore. It's yours. You have the command. 7 of 9.
Yeah, he was just like, no. And then he's just like, he tells 7, you're the captain now, Commander 7 of 9. And he finally showed her that respect.
Great
Great moment.
Right? Yeah, it was gorgeous. And so they stay. They being Rafi, she's like, Rafi, get on the shuttle. And she's like, no way, I'm staying with you, which is great because they haven't been together all season.
Yeah, and those two they're badasses. They're gonna figure out a way.
Oh yeah, they're a good team, So
I did a little sneaking. I went into the trailer for the season, and I found one frame that I know I hadn't seen in any show.
Okay.
It was just a good frame. That there's gonna be more battles on the Titan. That's all I got to say.
Oh, okay. I was wondering if they were going to get back together. Okay.
Yeah.
So now, here we mentioned the last 15 minutes. This was the best 15 minutes in recent memory of any TNG, as far as I'm concerned. And that, obviously the original show had its wonderful shows. The Inner Light I watched the other night again because it's so good, and other episodes. But this is where it just all comes together. They get in the shuttle, and they split, and it's like, well, where are they going? And they arrive where, Anthony?
At the Fleet Museum.
Geordi, why are we here?
We need a ship. Something older, analog, offline from the others.
You think we could use one of these?
Well, I was gonna say this as a surprise one day, but I guess there's no time like the present.
The Enterprise D.
Back at the Fleet Museum, this story has been teed up since the first minute of this season, where he goes, I want to send this to Geordi. He'll love it. Right? The picture of the Enterprise D. Right? And so, talk about a rhyme. We get all the way to the end of the series, and they arrive back at Space Dock. And they're like, well, what are we going to do? We need a ship that's analog. And I love that term that they use that. But the one that's not networked with the rest of the crew. Now, are you starting to smell the cooking? Because I was starting to smell the cooking.
At this point, there's only one thing it can be. There's only one ship it could be.
Sure.
And so they open the hangar doors, and lo and behold, it's our good old friend, Enterprise D.
And immediately I'm like, well, wait a second. It blew up. But they've explained it perfectly. Geordi's like, Well, listen, the saucer section, because of the Prime Directive, we couldn't leave it behind. So we salvaged it from Viridian 3. And I brought it back, and I've been working on it for 20 years because he's been in charge of the Fleet Museum, which is a perfect storyline.
Yeah, it completely makes sense. And then they just took the nacelles and the lower portion from one of the other ships. The
Saratoga.
The Saratoga. So, yeah, it made complete sense. Because the heart of the ship is actually the saucer section. So,
without a doubt. And, I'll just be honest with you. It's my least favorite of all the ships. But I just fell in love with it again. Like, I don't know if I ever truly loved it. I think I did in the 80s when I didn't know any other ships. But the ships they've designed since have just been miraculous. And it kind of left the D in the dust, and I never was really a big fan of the D, or the C for that matter. But seeing it there, I was like, oh, God, that ship just brought everything back.
And obviously, we can't use the Enterprise E.
That was not my fault.
So they board the ship, and a great joke about, we couldn't use Enterprise E, and Worf's like,
yeah,
that was not my fault.
So what does that refer to? I'm totally lost.
It's canon. Worf took command as captain of the Enterprise E at some point, and there was some mission, and we don't know. There's not a clear explanation as to what happened. So it's something that maybe could be explored later on.
I thought it had to do with Nemesis, because they crashed it into that Romulan ship. But they ended the movie, they're repairing it again. Like, it wasn't that bad. So yeah, it's something that's some kind of joke that we're going to find out later. Maybe in Lower Decks, or who knows.
Yeah. So they board the ship, and these were great moments. The lights come on,
and God, it's just incredible.
They're all standing there, and it's just they rebuilt. The production team rebuilt it from scratch. That's
and
what
it's exactly the same. I mean, exactly. Even the shape of the overhead lights in that kind of ovular shape, and
the carpet.
It wasn't until this moment, reunited with all of you, I realized what I've missed most. The carpet.
So yeah, Picard's like, after all this time and having you all here, I realized what I missed the most. This carpet. Great joke. So great. And he's like, listen, I shouldn't ask you to do this, which is a weird thing to say to me. It's the only thing that felt out of place, because before he said, I need you all. I'm glad you're here because I need you. So it's kind of a strange moment to me why he would say that. But Riker's like, hey, listen, where you go, we go. That's it.
Yeah. And in that moment, I was like, man, this should be in a theater.
Yeah.
It was such a theater moment.
Yeah, I've said this is either 3 movies or, the last season of Next Generation, which, it is.
Yep. And so, everybody takes their places. I love what he said. We've been here before.
Yep.
Everybody take their positions, and everybody, it's just like everybody slid right back into what we've always.
Right to where they're supposed to go.
Yeah, right where all the chess pieces are where they need to be, and they take off for Earth. What a great ending!
Great ending.
For
and
this
the
episode.
Ship, the ship coming out of space dock, and getting all those angles, and we see the underside of it, and that huge deflector dish, and the nacelles, and same sound it had in the 80s. It is just a fantastic moment. They did mention something about the weak shields, so I'm wondering, is that going to come into play, or does Geordi have a trick up his sleeve? I actually modified it for blah blah blah. You know what I mean? We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see, because they have a huge task ahead, and I just I don't know how they're going to play all this out.
Well, one of the things I think they may do is bring in the Enterprise F, a la the original Enterprise against the Excelsior. Enterprise A against the Excelsior, and Scotty snuck on board and pulled the plug on the Excelsior so it couldn't take off. I would like to see that. I'd like to see the D against the F. I think that would be an interesting battle. I really do.
Yeah, that'd be crazy. But but we'll see. It's just still like a few loose ends that are left. We need to know how the Changelings and the Borg operate. We need to figure out how they're going to ultimately be defeated, because, I mean, you're talking about biology now.
Yeah.
And then what? And at the end, how they're going to wrap it up? Are they going to cliffhang it so that we can do Star Trek Legacy? And by the way, I just read today that Picard is in the top 10 of streaming shows.
Ooh. Well, he's not coming back. He's done.
No, I know, but I'm just saying it's in the top 10 of streaming shows, which, the hashtag Star Trek Legacy has been a thing. Everybody's talking about it on Twitter. Everybody's using that handle to promote, to get...
Okay. Got it. I'm sorry. You said Star Trek Picard is top 10, and then they're using the hashtag Legacy.
Yeah. Everybody's using that to, get Paramount to commit to, doing the Star Trek Legacy show.
Why?
And I think they're setting it up. They're pointing it. I mean,
well,
Seven's captain.
They've also got the Academy that's coming out, which you said is in the future. So I think we'll see how that goes. But yeah, Legacy would be great. I think, Jack is interesting, but I do think he's going to sacrifice himself. But I also think it's a shame that Shaw died, because I think he would have been great in Legacy. He could have been, a captain to some of these people, and I really liked him. I just thought he was a great character. I'm sad that he's gone.
Yeah, me too. I hated him at first, but now I like him.
Episode 9, the penultimate episode, obviously did not disappoint. It was just full of breathtaking moments. But there's definitely some that deserve recognition. And Anthony, I want to hand it over to you to see what you like the best.
Okay, for me, it was just all of the, just great acting moments from Patrick Stewart, from Brent Spiner, from the actor that plays Shaw. I mean, and then
Todd Stashwick.
The moment, Todd Stashwick, yes. Those really brought it together. I mean, it really rested on the acting, and that's what really meant a lot to me.
I have always been a geek for Star Trek, a design nerd. I love the design. I love the ships. And I'm a huge ship fan. I've built models my whole life of the Enterprise and other ships. And so seeing those multitude of ships show up outside of Space Dock and recognizing Akura class and the Sovereign class and all the different classes of ship, and to see the Enterprise F, there was a lot to be said about this show, the brilliant writing and everything. But for me, I just got so tickled with just the design elements and the ships. It was just thrilling to me.
Well, I'm really looking forward to next week. I mean,
oh boy.
They're going to go out with a bang. We know that. There's no way they're going to go out with a whimper.
No, I'm already heartbroken. I'm already sad. Just knowing that there's 1 hour left of The Next Generation for sure. That's a hard pill to swallow.
Oh, yeah. Well, that concludes this episode of Energize, a Star Trek Picard edition podcast.
For more information, go to our website, www.energizepodcasts.com. And to download my book, The Mindset Chronicles, Book 1, The Deletion, go to Amazon or Barnes & Noble and search Steve Truitt.
Thanks for listening. I'm Anthony McLemore.
I'm Steve Truitt. Live long and prosper.